main mandate of the organization is to focus on gender-based violence and the trafficking of children. So basically, ACT Africa was founded by Matthew Mensah and Hilary Young, who came into the space of human trafficking and stuff through what happened to the lady Karago Mapena, who was suitcased after killing a suitcase or whatever after she was pregnant. So basically, why also deal in gender-based violence space is because broken homes lead to children being vulnerable to other people then trafficking them. So for me personally, why I my journey to becoming a person interested in human and anti-human trafficking comes in this way. So growing up as a child, my mom always used to say to me, don't go by the gate by yourself without asking because you can get stolen. And for any of the things she used to say to me, I've never used to click. She also say basically, even if you're familiar with someone, whether it's your grandparents, your uncle, your aunt, if I didn't tell them, if I didn't tell you personally that they collect from school, if I didn't tell you that they're coming to visit, don't give them entry into the house, don't get in their car when you're at school, unless it's me collecting you, unless I tell you otherwise, because it might not be safe. I'm like, but that's my grandmother. And then she gave me a statement once, and I didn't understand its logic. It's like, I gave birth to him, and like, don't be silly, yes, you're my mother. And then she's like, okay, fine. If I woke up today this morning and told you, climb the roof, jump off and kill yourself, would you? And I'd be like, yes, you're my mother. She's like, you're an idiot. Don't do that. You do what is best and safe for you. So that's basically what brought me to this space. So on to basically what is human trafficking. Do any of you have any idea what human trafficking is? Any thoughts? Yeah.
Hey everyone, I'm Sandra. Human trafficking is an illegal trade of people for forced labor, sexual exploitation, and domestic servitude.
So by definition, basically, human trafficking is the movement, so that's one key element, of people, that's another key element, using coercion, another key element, or force, another key element, for the purpose of exploitation. So the thing is, right, there are two things that play in the world. First, a person gets trafficked, and then once they've been trafficked, then they get forced into modern-day slavery. So now the problem we're having, modern-day slavery isn't just like the things you described, being forced to work ordinary people jobs like forced labor, domestic servitude, or working in farms, or working in factories or garment factories and stuff, the traditional things you get trafficked to do. And now in the modern sense of society, people now get trafficked to commit crime. So a person can be, family can be threatened, so you lied to that you're going to point A to B, we're going to get you a good paying job, either as a model, you look the part, or working as a bartender or waitress. It's in a different country, or it could be in the same country. When someone say, I found you a job abroad working for restaurant A, and then you go to the place, and then what they promised you turns out not to be what they said. You get there, and then they've got a gun to your head, or they claim to know your family, and then they say, swallow these balloons of cocaine. You're getting on the plane to go to country B, and then you're the person you see on the news. So, like, you see people on the news being arrested for certain crimes. I'm not saying that everybody is innocent, but sometimes you don't know and start thinking at the number of people who are being seen on the news for such and such a crime. Are they doing it for themselves, or are they representing a syndicate who traffic them and then force them to work in this particular enterprise? You might find, like, for example, I grew up reading the book Oliver Twist. I never really thought about it in terms of, like, the characters. Oliver Twist himself, he was an orphan, and the group of friends and boys and girls he played around on the street, and then there was the guy, the art forgotten. He was hungry, he was desperate, he needed a place to sleep. Then the art forgotten was like, I will help you. Like the things to do with girls and boys. But then he can't be for free. He slept there for 2 nights or something. I gave you food, I gave you shelter, now you owe me. And then what do I do say to help you, because you've helped me, now you feel guilty, now you're changed. Okay, your job is now to go on the street, because this person was a minor, to rob people. So that's another form where you can be human trafficked for the purposes of committing petty theft on the street. You can be trafficked for the purposes of begging, like not everybody you see on the traffic lights. holding babies is specifically holding them for the purposes of baking, because that's their kid. If their kid borrowed, stolen, to look the part, so that you feel sorry for the person paying the money, which is unfortunate. And then also in the trafficking space, there's something else as well that has now come to play. It's no longer people just being moved from point A to B, per my definition, for them to then be forced into modern day slavery. There's also cyber trafficking, which is the use of the internet to coerce and force individuals into exploitation. So basically, someone can pretend to be your friend online, they can pretend to be the same age group as you, or have the same interests as you. Before you know it, they'll then start convincing you to send them stuff, whether it's naked pictures of yourself, or just trying to learn information of something that you may have done that's technically illegal, and then they will use it against you. The Russians call it compromise or blackmail information. So now I know ABCD against you, now you're going to do what I want. You know, and then also some people, they get also trafficked for, not for purposes of use in modern day slavery, but just for harvesting of their organs. Because the organ trade globally in terms of the criminal organ trade is very valuable. And especially for people who have rare blood types, and so it makes it difficult for those who are ill and need a particular organ transplant, and they also have a rare blood type to find someone who's a match, which means that you could do business. That's something else as well. So I want to watch like a car launch episode where they're now discovering people who are being recruited by apps like Snapchat, even on Push, and then they're using that whole blackmail system. And before you know it, you are now a blackmail. So because you either a university student or you are a high school student, police are not likely to search you. And because this person has befriended you online, that's where the cyber trafficking comes in. They can now use you because they're blackmailing you or they're threatening your family, and then they give you stuff to travel around your Johannesburg. But it's today, you look at that piece. You won't know, and you probably won't even realize that you are being used to transport contraband, because you just do what you're told because you are afraid. So that's also part of human trafficking. So in terms of victim support and rescue, so basically how the trafficking space works is they work on the idea of it's hidden, nobody notices, they do it in plain daylight, they do it in ordinary neighborhoods, what you call safe spaces. You might think, oh, I'm living in Florence, it's safe, it's a gated community, nothing will happen here. That is the saddest. So what they prefer to do is use the quieter places because no one will be looking. Quieter neighborhoods where it just looks like the everyday family environment, safe, so nobody will come knocking. And so the best way to catch people is through community vigilance activities. So basically when you see something, say something, you report it to the Human Trafficking tip line, to the South African Police Department. And I guess one way to look at and see if someone has been trafficked or is a victim of modern day slavery, they won't have control of their own person. Someone else will always be speaking on their behalf when they're trying to speak to them. They might be afraid to have eye contact with you, to speak to you directly. They might not have access to their identity documents. They might be not all of them will be malnourished, because some traffickers do feed their victims well so that they're not obvious to the public. But they will exhibit symptoms and signs that show that they're not autonomous, they're not of themselves. They're afraid of authority, they hide because they're under the belief system. Because sometimes, again, like I was saying, the problem is when people they get trafficked into modern day slavery, part of the element of them, the trafficker and the trafficked person, and how they then work and do what they're doing. The trafficker is some of their businesses are using the illicit things. So now you're working for your trafficker to do what you're told to do. You're now afraid to come forward. Let's say, for example, it's a prostitute or a drug dealer, or you're forced to guard drugs in a drug farm. You won't be willing to volunteer and say, oh, I'm police, please help me. Policeman, I'm in trouble with this person. Was a trafficker of content types that were drinking or doing counters and crime, who also go to jail. So most victims don't realize that the justice system is slowly trying to decriminalize it. Any questions?
Yep. So, my name is Sid. I've previously heard that elderly people are trafficked as well.
Yes, they are.
Yes. So what cause? What use are they for people like?
I mean, what use are is to traffic an elderly person?
Yeah, like.
Okay, so I'll put it this way. There's a documentary I once watched about people from Ghana, Kenya, basically most of Western Africa, who are being trafficked in India. So they're being told to go to India and get a job as a housemaid, like I say, bartending in restaurants or factories to get a job. They go over there. Most of them were women and girls. They then get forced to work as sex slaves. You own now. It costs so much money for your passport, so much money for your visa and whatnot. And the funny part is they have connections within businesses and all the rest. So your visa will be legit. They'll have connections with the government. So all the paper will be legit, and then they pay bribes and their costs involved. Now you are in debt bondage, and so until it is paid off, you are now whatever they ask for. Because you were friends in the beginning on your way to India, so they know of your family, the property is made to your family. And some of the traffickers sometimes actually are family members because they'll be like, my kid is at home, I don't have money for them to go to university or to go to high school, they just finished at primary grade level, right? Then uncle so and so, I know Uncle he can help us. He is involved in organizing people getting their jobs overseas, and that money has more value because the African currencies of the dollar and exchange rate. Then you go, your parents trust Uncle, so they think they're going to be saying, you go there, you're not working as a prostitute, it's like you get wanted to ask money. So down the road, as it goes, you are now free, but then you're embarrassed what you've been doing for a living, you feel ashamed, you don't want to go back home. And then they're like, do you want to earn more money, do you want to be higher up in the food chain? And then you, the victim, become the trafficker as well. So they probably traffic old people because they serve the purpose in the sense that you see an old person, they're frail, that's one, you then view them as safe. So they can be used to lure younger children. Two, old people are entitled to like their pensions and whatnot by government. So if you get a hold of them, they take advantage of it. That means they use it because they are entitled to discounts, shops, free government housing, all the government benefits that they get based on their age. Could be another reason why they then become victims for trafficking. Okay.
Hi.
Yes.
My name is Nanda. I have this feeling. It's like, do you think that the human trafficking, the people that are doing like human trafficking,
Yeah.
do you think they work hand in hand with like powerful authorities like the government and also politicians? And asking this because it's like in South Africa we have illegal immigrants, right?
Yeah.
It's like the government is not doing anything about it. As much as Jessica,
Yeah.
this is so much Jessica is like fighting with like the government is not saying anything about it. And we find a lot of cases that these people always change their time, and they're also linked to like these illegal activities. Like, what do you think about that?
The traffickers or the illegal immigrants?
No, I'm asking about that. Do you think that like the people, like the human trafficking are also doing that work hand in hand with powerful authorities? And also, what do you think about the illegal immigrants that are here in South Africa and the government is not saying anything about it because I
Okay.
feel like there's a link.
Okay, I'll give it to you two points. So sometimes people get trafficked for purposes of them being what is normally right? So that's not of their own choosing. They're tricked into it. And then other times people pay their way to get into countries because they're coming from highly impoverished countries so that they can go and make a better life for themselves and get a job. So in regards to what you're asking in terms of the government, the problem is, right, it's not that the government isn't doing anything. It's the fact that even if the person is in a they still have their basic rights under the South African Human Rights Act, you understand? They still are entitled to due process. You don't just deport someone. And if they've been a good citizen and they've not been committing crime and they've contributed to the economy, right? I'm saying if they have been a good citizen and they're not a citizen of this country, but in the sense that they have not been committing crime or disturbing the system, they actually contribute to the ecosystem. If it's not being logical to deport the person, the logic would be to count them and regularize them. Does that make sense? In terms of
It's like they are in South Africa illegal.
no, they're illegal, yes. But the point of the matter is, you have to look at it from two sides. Because some people might be here illegally, but they can't go back to their home country because they come from war-torn countries, or they come from countries where they are running away from what they call economic disposition. You understand? So going back for them will not be conducive. So now you have to weigh, is it better for the person to go back, because then they'll come back again. You see how they got here in the first place. So again, like you were saying, because of the corruption within the system, because of how the syndicates work together within a corrupt system globally, not just here, it's everywhere. And because there's corruption on both sides of the fence, you have to look at the cost-benefit analysis. I come in illegally, right, across the fence. I get deported, and then the next day I'm back. So how does it serve me? Do you understand?
However, like, it's very scary how they get to have South African IDs and they do illegal things. Like, that is what Jennifer is trying to fight. It's like, you are allowed to be South Africa, but please be here illegally, right? Because everything happening, human trafficking, drug, like substance abuse, you don't really know what's happening. Except some of them, like vandalized properties in West Street, like a lot is happening in India and CBD, like a lot is happening. So we don't really know what's happening.
But you also have to bear in mind that some of the people you're calling illegal, some of them actually might not have come here illegally of their own choice. They would have been trafficked, escaped their trafficker, can't go back home, find a way to survive, and then they leave. So that's another element on top of the situation. And then you also have to remember that businesses as well contribute to this issue for those that hire modern day slaves from the traffickers to save on labor costs as local businesses. That also adds to the problem.
But it's like, why is South Africa a country where like people
For the sake of time.
No, just add, last question add it.
It's like, why do you see like South Africa as a country whereby abantu just want to come, Maswood and NASA? They just want to come here.
Sorry, no, I understand what you're saying. Yes, but it's not only South Africa. It's everywhere. It's everywhere.
And it seems like South Africa is really like corrupt and everything.
No, let me give you an example. I personally come from Zimbabwe, right? But right now most Zimbabweans are leaving the country because of the economic issues, right? So it's not conducive for them to remain. But whilst we are leaving, hundreds of other Africans have found a money market somewhere in the country where things are working out for them. And they're coming from their countries in droves to Zimbabwe. So you never know what attracts people to a specific particular country. Just like many South Africans in the same token are leaving South Africa, those that can go overseas to other countries for their reasons, and they are illegal and legal. Yes, and then some of them aren't going willingly, they're being trafficked as well. But the thing is, they don't know they're being trafficked. They get offered an opportunity, they're told there's a job opportunity. Some people come here thinking that they got their paperwork, they get legitimately, they get offered a job, they do all the great things, only to find that they've been taken advantage of. They didn't have great paperwork. The person who brought them there for only various purposes.
It's just that like it's so worrying.